The reason your beer belly won't go away has nothing to do with beer and everything to do with your system. If you're watching this, chances are you've been stuck in the same loop for years. You tighten up, you're eating for a week, you hit a couple of workouts, you skip a few beers, feel motivated, and then life happens. The weekend hits, travel, family stuff, and before you know it, the gut's still there, your energy's shot, and you're wondering if anything actually works. And worst of all, you're blaming yourself. Maybe I just need some more discipline. Maybe I need to try something else. Maybe I need to give up beer entirely. Maybe this is just what getting older looks like because of time, metabolism, and age. But that's not the truth, and you shouldn't be accepting that. The real reason your beer belly won't go away is because you're relying on the wrong tools. You're relying on willpower, you're relying on workouts, extreme diets, and they all fail because they're built for short-term performance, not for long-term sustainability. Hi, I'm Andrew Jacks, a dad, a national natural bodybuilding champion, and a coach who's helped over 400 busy professional men all around the world lose at least 20 pounds without having to give up beer, their carbs, or the life that they've built. I built this system for men who lead in business or at work, who lead their family at home, but have been failing to lead in their health. And if that's you, stick around because this video is about to shift everything. You're gonna learn why the beer belly isn't about the beer, what actually is causing it to stick, and how to lose it sustainably without the gym, without guilt, or having to track macros or even calories. And if you watch until the end, I'm gonna show you the same system that hundreds of dads have used to lose the gut without giving up their beer, counting calories, or sacrificing time to have to exercise, because it is possible. So now you need to understand that your beer belly is a symptom. It's not the problem. The gut isn't your issue. It's the evidence of the systems that you've got in place, what you're currently doing. Now let's get scientific for about a minute. What you call a beer belly isn't just extra fat. It's actually visceral fat. You've also got subcutaneous, which is the exterior fat, but you've also got visceral, which is like the internal fat that wraps around your organs, your liver, your stomach, and your pancreas. And it's actually a major risk factor that can increase your risk of heart disease, diabetes, and even early death, right? And so if you don't get that visceral fat under control, then it can cause those issues. And you don't just get it from beer, you also get it from things like high stress levels, which raises your cortisol levels, blood sugar spikes and crashes, having poor sleep, sitting for hours at your desk job and not being active at all, or skipping meals and then overeating. And yes, alcohol does slow your fat burning for hours at a time, but beer alone isn't the problem. The system around it and the habits you've got in your life is the major cause of it. And that's why guys who try to just cut the beer or other alcohol that they might have still end up with the same gut 3 months later. And so what we need isn't more sacrifice, it's just a better system. So what we fix inside my habit sustainability formula are the following things. This is what I take my clients through in my Ditch the Dad Fat program. We first of all work on the mindset, right? So we want to make sure that we start to think from the identity of the person that we want to become. So if we want to become a healthy, lean father that wants to weigh X amount of pounds, well, we need to start making choices and have a mindset that comes from that. And if you don't, it won't work for you. So you need to be a man who leads with healthy choices. Then we need to work on things like your meals, what to eat, when to eat, how much to eat, and making sure that we're not skipping meals as well. That way you can maximize your metabolism rather than limiting it. And a lot of men skip breakfast and it's detrimental to their metabolism. The other thing is portion control. Making sure that you're having the right amount of food, and we use a visual formula called the plate portion formula, where we don't have to count calories, and making sure we're having protein and carbs with every meal, and not overeating, but also not starving yourself. And then having some measures around planning and preparing your meals. That's not hard to do, something that's very simple and quick to do. Also, when you snack, it's okay to snack as long as you're snacking with purpose, not out of things like stress or boredom or even craving as well. So we need to get your snacking under control, and then making sure that you're prioritizing sleep. Then there's water intake too, which is important. A lot of people neglect water intake. And then having beer or alcohol with boundaries, not banning it, but just reducing it so that way you can still enjoy it to an extent where you're still seeing results. So things like modifying the frequency, how many days you have alcohol, or the quantities, how many you have in one session, or even just going to lower carb options, or even if you're having spirits, then making sure you're having low sugar or avoiding sugary mixes as well. That adds unnecessary calories. So losing your gut isn't about grinding harder, because it's like trying to row a boat upstream with a hole in it. No matter how hard you row, you're still going to be sinking. So you need to fix the system first, and the current starts working with you. And that's where you start to build momentum with your results. You start to get motivation because what you're doing is right, and that's where you see breakthrough. I had a client, Brendan, who was a heavy drinker. He tried cutting out beer for a month. A lot of men say, oh, I want to cut out alcohol for a whole month. Doesn't work. But because what happens is you lose weight and then you put it back on because you start drinking again. So he came to me, we worked together, we installed my habit sustainability formula, and he put those habits into place and ended up within 6 weeks, dropped 7.2 kilos or 15.8 pounds, and was still able to enjoy his beer. So it is definitely possible. You just need to have the right systems in place, follow it, stick to it consistently, and it'll work for you. Okay, so if what I've said so far is clicking for you, is resonating, and you're realizing that your beer belly isn't a discipline problem, that it's a systems problem, I built a free training for you that you can watch after this. It walks through the same framework that I use with my private clients and shows how men just like you dropping between 10 to 35 pounds without exercise, counting calories, or giving up beer. And that's typically within a 6-week time frame. You can still lose more after that, but that's the results that we get. So if you want access to that, first link in the description below in this video for free access to that. Now let's move on to the next part. This is where everything you think you know about losing fat gets rewired. And it's the exact reason my clients get faster results with less effort. And that's the myth that by working out more means you'll burn more belly fat. However, it can be counterproductive because you don't always just burn fat in the gym. The main thing is you burn fat with the habits, the systems that we put in place, the things that you're doing most of the time, because you can only hit the gym so many times a week, right? And yes, I hit the gym. I love it. I've been doing it for years, so it comes natural to me. I've got time for it. But if you don't have time, if you don't have motivation, or you're injured, you can't exercise. It stops you from exercising. So if you're relying on that to lose weight, you're doomed. Also, if you are already time poor and you're becoming stressed or feeling under pressure because you have to get those workouts in, it can ruin the quality of your life, right? And it won't become enjoyable, and you can end up burning out, which isn't good. Also, if you're overtraining and don't give yourself enough recovery, like things like sleep and the right nutrition, it can actually increase your belly fat because your cortisol levels, which is a stress hormone, will increase. So that's something you need to be careful of and make sure you're doing right. So that's why we focus on things like low friction movement, things like walking, just going for walks, and you can do other things while you're walking too. Standing, so if you've got a stand-up desk, that's a good way to burn more calories and fat, increase metabolism, or just pacing around the office or taking stairs or parking a car further away. Those little things all add up. Also with things like your meals, making sure you're leveraging protein and eating in a way that shuts down the cravings, because the more protein you have, it reduces your cravings. And then having structured meals without having to worry about tracking everything, and as well as sleeping like a CEO. So making sure that sleep time is protected and scheduled in, and nothing is going to get in the way of it. So here's some 4 ways that you can start doing today that will give you some quick wins, right? So let's go through it together. Walk about 7 to 10,000 steps a day. It means you don't need to go to the gym. You don't need the travel time. You don't need to get changed into clothes, whatever. Just go for a walk, step count up. You can easily track it via watch or even your phone. Or if you've got an old school pedometer like I used to use, you can use that. The other thing is with your breakfast, make sure you're having breakfast. Have about 30 grams of lean protein with it. That'll help boost your metabolism, reduce your muscle atrophy, so preventing your muscle from shrinking in size. That's what happens with age if you don't look after it. And as well as increase satiety and reduce cravings and overeating later in the day. That's what protein will do for you. It's very important. Also, don't skip meals, especially breakfast, because it can limit your metabolism and destabilize your appetite later in the day, causing you to overeat later on, snack, those sort of things. And that's why a lot of men put on weight around the night time. And then, as I mentioned, sleep, making sure you're getting about 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Have a wind down process. Make sure that you're in a dark room that's quiet, good temperature. Make sure you don't take your phone to bed. It can ruin the quality of your sleep as well. It's because trying to burn fat by adding more gym time rather than doing those steps I've mentioned is like trying to mop the floor while the sink is still overflowing. We've got to fix the leak, and then everything else will get easier and have an on-flow effect. Just like my client Simon, he's a dad and a CEO. He was relying on daily gym workouts, but was struggling to make them all due to his chaotic schedule and couldn't lose weight. When he came to me, we put some systems in place that focused on tweaking his current health habits that he was doing wrong. And he ended up losing 10 kilos or 22 pounds in 6 weeks, and then eventually 35 pounds in less than 3 months. And he says that it's changed his life. So it goes to show you that this can work. All right, let's go over something I want to teach you regarding morning routine that's going to really give you another big win as well. This will help you burn fat in the morning right from the get-go. And you don't need a new workout to do in the morning. To get up early in the morning, go for a big workout can be a lot of effort. Most dads, they start their day in fat storing mode where they might hit the snooze button, try and sleep in more, or go on their phones and start thinking about work. Stress raises up. They run out of time. They skip breakfast. They have a coffee, and then they might have an unhealthy snack to get them by till lunch, and then they crash it in the afternoon, come home, and then they start snacking again, overeating, and that's not what you want to have your day start off like or end off like either. So here's 3 steps which I want you to start doing, and I call it my morning metabolism mover. First of all, hydrate immediately. So have 1 tall glass of water when you wake up. Have it in your bathroom next to your sink. That way it's a reminder and you've got no excuse. Fill it up with water, drink it all, and that's all you need to start off with. Then once you get changed and go to have breakfast, before you have breakfast, have another glass of water, and that's half a litre done, or 17 ounces for you Americans out there. And now you're already hydrated and kickstarted your metabolism. And then I want you to fill up your water bottle straight after that. Get a large water bottle, right? This one's just under 1 litre, and take it with you everywhere you go. That way you've got that water on supply. Then I want you to do about 3 minutes of activity. If you can do more, great. Some people can do a 30-minute walk, but even in just 3 minutes counts. Like going for a quick walk, do some body weight exercises, do some stretching on the floor in your house is fine, or outside. And this will help activate your metabolism even more, help warm up the muscles, joints, and promote mobility. Then I want you to prioritize breakfast to make sure you have it regardless. And you should be able to recondition your body so that you're eating less at night, eating more during the day, and it has a stabilizing effect with your appetite. So that's something that you should be doing from now on. When my clients have breakfast, it becomes a game changer for them. Normally they see anywhere between 3 to 5 pounds lost in the first week just from doing some of those things I mentioned. And they don't have to try any harder. It's pretty simple things that you can do. So look, right now, you've got 2 paths in front of you. You can keep trying to push harder, do more workouts, eat less food, not sure if you're doing things right, keep doing what you're doing previously. You can try to apply what I've taught you and keep doing it. I hope you do. However, there's some people that will watch this and won't do anything with it. Or they'll try for a day or 2 and they'll forget. What I find is with busy dads, they need someone to hold them accountable. They need a plan to follow and some structure. And by them investing in that coach or program, they're invested themselves and they have to do it. They're forced to do it, which is a good thing, because if you need to change, you need to do something differently about your weight and your health. So if that's something that you're interested in, that way you can take the guesswork out and start leading with your health, not just for yourself, but for your family too. Tap the link in the first description. That'll give you access to that video that goes over the process that I help my clients with. And I've helped over 400 dads all around the world. So it can be Australia, New Zealand, US, UK, Canada, all those countries, any countries. It's all online. So you don't need to meet in person. And dads typically lose 10 to 35 pounds within the first 6 weeks from it. It doesn't require extra willpower, workouts, or counting calories. It's made really simple. So if that's something that you're interested in, because this is not just about abs. Yes, I'm called Six Pack Dad, but I'm focused more on helping fathers become the healthiest version of themselves and to lead as well as being a healthy role model for their kids. So if you're interested in that, click the link below, watch the video, and you can book a call with me and we can chat further about that as well. Otherwise, if you found this video helpful, just hit the subscribe button, because I do release these videos quite regularly when I can, and that way you can lead a better life, live longer, and finally feel strong again inside and out. Bye for now.